Hey guys, it's a Thursday afternoon. Actually, it's only about 4 o'clock or so. We did go to the market earlier, but you hear that thunder? Yes. We decided to stay in this afternoon, so I'm just going to record a little bit from here. As you can hear the thunder, and you can see the clouds, as they would say here, Meek Jong Plien. Meek Jong Plien. That's Khmer for. The best English translation is "it wants to rain," but in Khmer they don't use the word "it" for the sky. They actually use the word "sky." So Meek would be sky. Jong means want to, and Plien is rain, of course. Meek Jong Plien. See, I'm learning slowly but surely. Ooh, but that thunder looks menacing. The unfortunate thing is there's not really a breeze to go with it. So all that moisture in the sky and the fact that it's currently 93 degrees Fahrenheit means it is very, very humid. Stand outside on the balcony and just sweat, hoping to catch something of a breeze along the way. Hopefully once it starts raining, it'll bring with it some cool, refreshing breeze. Not much happening inside. I'm sitting around playing on YouTube. That's the guy, Dara Yin. Look up his YouTube channel if you want to study Khmer. He's really good. He's taught me a lot. I like to watch him, and when I learn things, I write them down in this little notebook, phrases and different words. I actually like the words better because then I can look through and kind of structure the sentences myself. It gets me thinking about how they use different things at the end of sentences compared to the in the West, like the words for when will and when did. Like when did you do that or when will you do that. The words when will or when did in Khmer would go at the end of the sentence. So you wouldn't ask when will you do this. You would ask do this when will, or you do when will, or something like that. It's just a little bit different. Gotta train the old brain here. But today earlier, if you look on my Facebook page, I like to give daily updates, just short little videos of Seng learning English. Today, as you can see, we focused on clothes and different clothing items, and also how to say put on the clothing item and take off the clothing item. We went over socks, pants, shirt, shoes, and how to dress and all that. Right now, I got me a big bowl of saucy noodles, and I'm gonna have to cut this video short. And yes, before you guys start complaining, oh poor Seng, she's got to cook on the floor, we're getting something to remedy that, okay? We're gonna look for a couple tables, or a table to have the extra space. Everything else is kind of full, but she makes do, and that's the important thing. So I'm gonna go, I'm gonna eat, talk to you guys later. All right, it is now Friday morning, a little past 11 o'clock I believe. Didn't get a chance to go out last night. We got a little bit of a storm. It wasn't, I think we got the tail end of a big storm that had hit Thailand and kind of passed through the area. A lot of thunder and lightning. It was pretty awesome. We did get some rain, but it was maybe 15 minutes of really hard, heavy hitting rain. And then it just kind of stopped, and you got a good lightning show out of the deal. Standing on the balcony, pretty cool to watch in the safety of my own home, of course. But we're getting out now. We got up, ate breakfast, did our English lesson for the day. try to teach Seng English words and phrases of things that are everyday conversation kind of things that we would use like around the house or when we're out and about. So today we focused on food, how to say the basic food words in English, like meat, fruit, vegetable, and how to use them in a sentence. And that idea came to me because the last time we went to the market, I asked her, do we need or do we have vegetables? And she said, yeah. And then come to find out we didn't. But that's common over here. People will say yes to questions you ask, even if they don't know, because they're saving face. They don't want to look stupid. And they're also trying to save you face by not asking you to repeat yourself, because then you could appear as if you didn't say it correctly the first time. So that is one of the cultural differences you will have to get used to over here. If you get into a tuk-tuk and ask them, do you know where a certain place is, and they say yes, you still want to get out your Google Maps and make sure. Very often you'll have to tell them where to turn to go straight and stop here. In other words, yes does not always mean yes here. But I found that out when we got home, and we in fact did not have any vegetables. We made do though. We had noodles. As far as I'm concerned, that's just as good as vegetables, even though of course it's not as healthy. But I got the idea, well, we should go over some phrases and words we would use at the market, so when I say them, she'll know what it means, and we can avoid that situation in the future. And it worked out pretty good. She now knows meat, vegetables. Yeah. Meat, fruit, and vegetables. And then we went through and used them in a sentence. Anyway, that was my morning so far. Found out yesterday was another government holiday. What some of you might call a bank holiday. It's one of those holidays that usually don't mean anything to the regular everyday employees because they still have to go to work. But government offices are closed, banks are closed, and I found that out when I went to change a $100 bill. And the bank was not open, and I was like, well, we'll have to wait till tomorrow to get any money. But we did find a money exchange place that was open, and the weird thing is these places always charge you $1 or $2 depending on how much you want changed. But this place didn't even charge me. I gave them the $100 bill. They gave me back some 20s and 10s. It equaled $100. And they said, thank you, have a nice day. I was like, okay. So that was pretty cool. I just wish the banks or the ATMs here would give you the choice of getting bigger or smaller bills. Like, I don't expect them to give me all 20s or all 10s if I'm getting $600-700 out, but give me the option of getting, 100 or 200 in 20s or 10s. But it is what it is. But it's still pretty cool that they didn't charge me. I saw a job online. It was in the Siem Reap job posting group. And they said they were in need of several kindergarten teachers, English teachers, and to email your CV, cover letter, and all that good stuff to an email address. So I did that. A couple hours later, I got a phone call from the gentleman. And he said he definitely has an opening. However, even though it was posted in the Siem Reap group, the opening is in Phnom Penh, which is the capital city, probably about 8-9 hours from here. Now the problem isn't going to Phnom Penh. I always said, you know, whatever, wherever, doesn't matter. But the issue is that at first it's only going to be a part-time job. It's going to be 1 day a week for 4 hours a day. You will get paid in full at the end of each day, but it's only $40 a week starting out. And at $160 a month, I can't make a move like that. He was really trying to get me to come, though. He said he has he wants more Americans for his school, but all the full-time teaching jobs are compromised right now of Australians and British people. But he says he has in the next few months he is going to be starting 2 new classes. He should have enough students by then, and he's looking to hire American native English speakers with a TEFL certificate to take charge. So basically his pitch to me was, move to Phnom Penh, take this part-time job, and when the full-time job opens up, it's yours. And I know that sounds good and everything, but I can't afford to move to Phnom Penh and only make $160 a month. That's, unfortunately, that wouldn't work. He did tell me, however, I mean, he was really pushing it, trying to get me to say yes, because he told me, you know, if housing was going to be an issue, no problem. He said he would make a small studio apartment out of one of the empty classrooms he has now, and I could just stay in there rent free until I found a proper place, or had the money to find a proper place. He also said finding a job in Phnom Penh is usually easier than in Siem Reap. So he said you can work a full-time job during the week and you make $900 to $1,000 a month, and then you can use the extra money from Sundays that I will pay you, and that will basically pay for your apartment. So all the rest is yours. Everything he said was true, and I understood the concept, but still, there's a lot of there's not a lot of guarantees there. It was just there's just too many variables, too many what ifs, and like I said, packing up and moving from Siem Reap to another city on the assumption that maybe one day he'll give me a full-time job. I just probably not going to do. Next week is the King's birthday. They'll be celebrating all week. No schools will be open, so I will have to wait one more week to start looking for jobs again. I do have 4 more schools I'm going to hit up, so that's good. People have been giving me different names of different schools, and I've been looking them up on Google Maps, so maybe that'll pan out. There's music playing up here, which is why I'm kind of standing here. I wanted to finish my thoughts on that, but I'll talk to you guys later. All right, while we're waiting for Seng, she is looking at stuff in there. I don't know what. She's probably closed. I figured since I'm down here, I would show you guys some stuff. This is the Tourist Information Center. Don't worry, it is free of charge. You will not get arrested for taking any of this stuff. But it kind of gives you some, well, you know, you see these everywhere in tourist areas, letting you know what you can do around town. Go on a quad bike adventure if you're into that sort of thing. Of course, the bar circus, which is pretty awesome. Take a pottery class. Go on a prison break. Yeah, Great Escape Cambodia. They do all these different room escape scenarios that you and your friends can go and figure out. You can go on some group tours. These are all for Angkor Wat. $13. The ticket itself costs $37 to get in, but they'll take you on the tour, and you get to see all these temples for that price. Kulin Mountain is somewhere I really want to go. $35, ticket included. Pretty good. Okay, I guess she's done looking at her, obviously in here, all of her clothes. Oh, no thank you, no thank you. But yeah, more music coming up. Talk to you in a minute. All right, I'm finally away from all the music, I think. Sometimes you're just walking along and all of a sudden, thump, 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 thump. Somebody's playing their radio again, full volume. But like I said, that's why I don't get much footage right down on Pub Street. It's just, yeah. Can't have the music on the video, you know? But anyway, that was one of the tour companies I showed you. All the prices for these kind of establishments are pretty much the same. And you might be wondering, why would I pay $37 to get into Angkor Wat and then want to pay another $13 to somebody else? And the answer is, well, you don't. If you want to go to Angkor Wat by yourself, experience the temples by yourself, somehow get between one temple to the other by yourself, you can most certainly do that. But $13 is a pretty good deal because you will have a guided tour. They'll tell you the history of what you're looking at, what it represents, and the distance between the temples is pretty long. Pretty far in between. So if you don't have a ride, your pass is good for one day. For $37, you are going to not see as much as you could by paying the extra $13. It's just a good bargain. When I went to Angkor Wat, I went with a tour group from the guest house I was staying in at the time. Really enjoyable. It's really cool to see, but when you have somebody there explaining what it means, it has a lot more significance to it. Still, I would say one of the best things I've done since I've been in Cambodia. The complex is simply amazing. Before I came here, I saw tons of videos about Angkor Wat. Looked at tons of pictures and thought they were pretty cool. But seeing them for yourself up close, nothing like it. Nothing like it. No video can do it justice. That's how impressive it is. But in addition to teaching Seng English. I'm still slowly but surely learning Khmer. There are some words and phrases that in my head I can say them perfectly, but trying to pronounce them with my tongue is a bit of a challenge, which I'm sure it is also for anybody learning any language. Hang on, Seng wants something, just a minute. I was saying, I got music on one end of the block. I got people wanting to look at dresses on the other end of the block. All I'm trying to do is make a video here. Just give me 5 minutes. But what I was saying, the purpose, when you're learning a language, it's important to remember that the whole purpose of language, whether it's sign language or even the old caveman writing pictures on the walls, the whole purpose is to communicate and to be able to talk to someone in a way they understand you and you understand them. Every language has its own rules, its own grammar, its own pronunciation, and all those things are very important. But I like to focus on, especially for absolute beginners like Seng, I like to focus on just being able to communicate a thought, an idea, a want, a need in a way that other people that speak English would be able to understand, even if it's with an accent or not perfect, if that makes sense. The other day, she was talking to someone and said in English, "My name, Seng Lai." And they kind of well, they weren't mean, they didn't make fun of her, but they had to mention, they had to point out that she didn't use the word is, as in my name is Seng Lai. She just says my name Seng Lai. The reason is because in some languages they don't have words like for articles and things that we do when we speak English. But the whole point, like I said, is to communicate. So she came up to anybody and said, "My name, Seng Lai." Nobody would say, "I don't understand you," because you didn't use the word is. You know what I'm saying? No, nobody would say that. The important thing is that she was able to communicate to somebody in English what her name was. And I say that because in Khmer there are a lot of obstacles to overcome when you're learning. Not only because of the way they put like some words at the end of a sentence that we would put at the beginning and knowing how and when to use that, but also some of the sounds that my native English tongue is definitely not used to making. A lot of words begin with like the letter D and the letter T together, like Tao, Tao, and it's not, you don't pronounce the D fully and you don't pronounce the T fully, but it's a combination of the two. So your tongue and your brain has to get used to that sound that you're making. Tao, Tao. And also there's several words that begin with P, NT, D, NT, T, and N. Actually, there are several words that begin with T and G. So try to wrap your tongue around that one. But there are challenges, but still, as I said, using a word that you may not be pronouncing correctly, but using it in the right context, people will understand you. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a successful use of the language. But my Khmer is going fine. We can communicate better because she's learning English well. She woke up today, looked at her clock and said 8 o'clock, which is pretty good for somebody who just woke up and just learned numbers. So she's understanding, she's getting it. And we can focus on all those abstract rules of the language at a later date once we get the basics down and all that good stuff. Besides, no language is perfect. The people who started the English language would not recognize most of the way we speak now. And if we could go back, we would definitely not know what they were talking about back then. It has changed very, very much over the years. Anyway, I will end this video for now. Gonna walk up here and see if we can't find her a shirt or a dress or whatever it is she is looking for. The place down by the market, they wanted too much. The place she just stopped me to interrupt me to go into, I don't know, she was in and out pretty fast. So that's one of those places that has set prices, you can't negotiate. So that was probably too much. Gonna go take a look up here though. We'll find something. So I will talk to you guys later.